Hey everyone, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to T Accounts. So, what is tomorrow? We have our AS Accounting P1 exam tomorrow, and the reason for making this video is I just wanted to emphasize on a few things which you can do today, which is a day before exam, and tomorrow, which is on the day of exam. So, let's begin. Now, what you really need to focus on today is on revision, right? Revise a lot. Whatever you have done so far, whatever you have practiced so far, revise your notes, revise your topics, the accounting topics, of course, revise all the topical P1s that you have solved so far, and revise yearlies as well, which you must have done weeks before exam, for 3 to 4 weeks before exam. So revise everything. If you are weak in some topics, revise its topicals P1, and also revise yearly P1s as well, so that you can get a revision of all the syllabus as much as you can. Similarly, after that, focus on the formats which we have in accounting AS, like statement of changes in equity. Sometimes you have to find out the retained earnings brought down or even the carried down, so you should know what are the adjustments required in statement of changes in equity to arrive at that figure. Similarly, partnership appropriation account, a lot of questions come for that format. Sometimes we have to find out the interest on capital or interest on drawings, or we just have to find out the total income for a partner. So make sure that you go through it a lot. Then control accounts format, what is debited, what is credited in SLCA, and what is debited and credited in PLCA. The unusual balances, what do they represent in control accounts? Where are dishonored checks recorded? Where are refunds recorded? Where are contra entries recorded? So yes, while revising the formats, make sure that you are recalling the double entries as well, as they are the basis of accounting. So you should know why a double entry is being made, why it is being credited, why something is being debited, etc. Similarly, bank reconciliation statements, right? We prepared two things in this topic. One is the updated cash book, second is the bank reconciliation statement. Make sure that you know what is debited and what is credited in the updated cash book, and what appears in the bank statement but not on the unadjusted cash book, vice versa as well. And you should be aware the bank reconciliation format, that there are two ways in which it can be prepared. If we start with the balance as per bank statement, so we add uncredited deposits and we subtract the unpresented checks. But if we start with the balance as per updated cash book, so we add unpresented and we subtract uncredited deposits, right? Many of the questions in this topic, they involve a lot of steps. So for instance, sometimes you have to find out the balance as per bank statement, or sometimes you have to find out the balance as per updated cash book, then you can find out the balance as per bank statement, or sometimes after finding both of the two, the question is to calculate the balance as per unadjusted cash book, right? So all of these can be found out very easily if you are familiar with the formats of the two. Similarly, the format of statement of profit or loss, which was previously called income statement. So what is added in cost of sales, what is subtracted? For instance, we subtract purchases returns, we also subtract inventory drawings, carriage inwards is added, closing inventory is subtracted. So, and after GP we add other incomes, we subtract other expenses, so then we arrive at the profit before interest and tax. Then interest is subtracted, then we arrive at profit for the year. This format is particularly important for company accounts, right? When we, for instance, have to calculate return on capital employed, so profit before interest and tax is required, right? Then moving towards the formulas. First, we have marginal costing, for instance. So what you need to revise is how is contribution calculated, that is sales minus marginal cost or all the variable cost. Then contribution to sales ratio is sometimes given to you, and you have to find out the break even. So open the formula. For instance, if variable cost is unknown, you can find that out using CS ratio. If selling price is also known, so yes, a formula may be given to you, a percentage may be given to you, so that you can work something around it and find out what is required, right? You should know how is break even in sales, break even in, that is in monetary terms, and break even in units is calculated. How is marginal of safety in percentage, in units, and in amounts. Sales revenue is calculated. Then moving towards absorption costing, what we must know is how is OAR calculated. It is always calculated on budgeted figures, Budgeted overheads upon budgeted either units or hours, and then the formula to calculate under or over absorption. Now for over or under absorption, if you are very much familiar with the formula, sometimes you may be asked to calculate OAR using this formula also. Sometimes you may be asked to calculate the actual activity level, or sometimes the actual overheads. So a lot of things can be calculated if you are aware of this formula. You should know that when the answer is in negative, when the answer is in positive, in case of under and over absorption. Similarly, there's one more thing which is not much tested, but still the concept of semi-variable cost, which you have to calculate, in which you have to calculate the variable component using the high-low method. In this method, we are given with 2 or sometimes 3 level of productions. Their costs are also given. So we find out the difference between the costs and the output levels, so that we can arrive at the variable cost per unit, and then we can calculate the fixed cost. Using this, we can also calculate the break even. So these all are very much interconnected, right? Then moving towards inventory valuation, you must be aware that how under FIFO inventory is calculated. Sometimes you are asked to calculate the closing inventory under both the methods, FIFO and AFCO. Sometimes you are asked to calculate the issues of inventory, the value at which these were issued, or even sometimes the GP. So make sure you are familiar with both the methods, and the NRV as well. That what is NRV? The net realizable value, which is estimated selling price minus all the estimated cost to sell of inventory. Inventory is valued at lower of cost, or NRV. So yeah. And ratios, all the ratios, all the formulas must be revised very well. The efficiency ratios, the liquidity ratios, the profitability ratios. Sometimes the answer is in times, sometimes it's in percentages, sometimes it's in days. For instance, if inventory turnover is to be calculated in days, then in numerator we keep the average inventory, in denominator cost of sales we multiply it by 365. But if it is in times, then cost of sales upon average inventory, the answer is in times. Not just the ratios, make sure that when you are revising your notes, you must have written the reasons for increase or decrease in ratios, or how it can be improved, or how it can be made worsen. So go through that as well. Then lastly, after all the revision, or you can just do a mix of everything, that first you revise half of the syllabus, then you can attempt 1 or 2 paper as well. It could be latest, it could be of 2022 or 2023 of some other variants as well, or it can be of March 2025 exam as well. But not more than 2 papers are recommended being attempted with just a day before exam, right? Because the focus should be on the revision of everything that you have covered so far in the syllabus, not just the MCQs attempted, but also the topics, right? Everything, the theory, the notes, the formulas, the formats. So you can revise, then you can attempt 1 paper, then you can again focus yourself on the revision, then you can also attempt 1 paper. So it's totally up to you, right? And whenever, if you are attempting, you must have done this before as well, and if you are doing it just a day before exam also, then time yourself, right? What I recommend is that since the paper is of 1 hour, so we try to finish the paper, that is, we try to mark the answers in the question paper. All the answers should be marked by 50 minutes. When you are done with 50 minutes of your paper, for instance, if the paper starts at 2 p.m, so by 2:50 you should be done marking all the answers in the question paper, and in the last 10 minutes you can shade the answers in your answer sheet, of course, as we know that only that will be checked. So last 10 minutes should be kept for shading, for filling the answer sheet, and for the reviewing or for the revision, just going through the paper, that you must have attempted all the questions or not, etc. Right? So in 50 minutes, just attempt the paper. All the questions, all the MCQs 30 should be attempted in 50 minutes, first 50 minutes. Then this is all about a day before exam, not what you need to do on the day of exam. So first of all, reach your examination hall on time, before time in fact, so that you are familiar with the surroundings, you are a bit calmed down, and you are there on your seat much before the exam starts. Then carry 2 to 3 pencils, or you can even carry more, it's up to you. carry a sharpener, carry an eraser as well. And I always used to carry 2 calculators with me, so you can do the same. You must be doing the same as well. So carry enough stationery, right? 2 to 3 pens, 2 to 3 or more pencils, sharpeners, erasers, calculators, right? Answer sheet should be filled very carefully. You write all the details very carefully. So if you reach before time, if you reach on time, that is almost like 30 to 1 hour before the start of the exam, you will be able to do this in a much relaxed peace of mind, with a relaxed peace of mind, right? So this was all before starting the exam. Now when the exam begins, read the question carefully, not just carefully but very carefully. You should know that what you have to answer, from whose perspective you have to answer the question. Sometimes you have to answer from the perspective of supplier, sometimes from the perspective of customer. So that makes a lot of difference. What is a purchases returns for you is a sales returns for another party. So that is how you will decide in which day book that will be entered, what amount will be entered, on which side of the T account will that be entered. So read the question very carefully. For instance, sometimes you have to find out what is not an advantage of, for instance, being a sole trader. So if the answer is like an option A, B, C and D, so the 3 will be the advantages, 1 won't be the advantage, right? So read the question which helps you in understanding it in a better way, right? Similarly, sometimes you are asked to find out the errors that will not be revealed by the trial balance, right? Some of them will be revealed by the trial balance, some won't be revealed, and those who won't be, or those who are not revealed, are what are those errors? Error of omission, commission, principal, original entry, compensating errors, etc., reversal. So that they won't be revealed. And what are revealed? For instance, if the error is made in one account only, if the posting, the amount was posted wrongly in again one account, if there's a single entry problem, or if the amount was posted twice but in one account only. So these types of errors, similarly many other examples are also there. So these will be revealed by the trial balance. So read the question very carefully, circle or just highlight the keywords in the question. Keep in mind that if you are confused, if you don't know what is the answer, how to go about this question, if you can't figure out the answer or the adjustments given to you in the question, just make the double entries, make the T accounts. Wherever you are stuck, just make the double entries, especially for errors questions in which suspense account is involved, or even for control accounts questions, or in any other topic that you find difficult. Just make sure that you are familiar with the double entries. On which side does that account increase? What is the nature of that account? Does incomes increase on debit side or credit side? Where do sales returns are increased? Which account balance does this account have? Right? So that will help you a lot in finding out the answer. Sometimes you have to work backwards to find the correct answer, right? So for that, revise the formats. For instance, partnership appropriation account. If the residual profit is given to you, profit for the year is also given to you, you have to find out interest on drawings, so you have to work backwards. And same goes for retained earnings. Sometimes BD and CD both are given, but we have to find out the dividends. So make sure that you are familiar with the formats, and the same goes for the under absorption, over absorption formula as well. So yeah. Then similarly, common types of questions for errors also. Sometimes you have to find out the impact of an error on the profit. For instance, if I haven't recorded inventory drawings, this means that I haven't reduced my purchases. So purchases are overstated. If my purchases are overstated, my cost of sales will also be overstated, and if cost of sales is overstated, my profit will be understated. So this is how you identify the impact of an error on profit. But sometimes you have to find out the impact of correcting that error on profit. So read the question very carefully. Okay. Lastly, some other examples related to statement of profit or loss. For instance, if your sales will increase, your profit will also increase, and vice versa. And if your incomes will increase, similarly profits will also be increased. But if your cost of sales will increase, your profit will decrease. And what can increase cost of sales? For instance, if opening inventory is overstated, if my purchases are also overstated, if closing inventory is understated. So again, revision of the formats, what comes in which part of the statement, that is very important, right? Similarly, if purchases are understated, my cost will also be understated and my profit will be overstated. If expenses are overstated, profit will be understated. So again, just read the question very carefully, that whose impact is being asked, whether the impact of the error on profit or the correction of the error on profit, right? Another last example could be of, for instance, return on capital employed. When can this be increased? First of all, we should know the formula of return on capital employed, that is profit before interest and tax is used in this formula. Now, in some questions, you will be given with the profit for the year. We don't use that figure. Profit for the year is not used, rather profit before interest and tax. So if interest is given to you, debenture interest, for instance, in case of companies, so add that back. Or if it's just written 8% debentures and the amount is 100,000, so calculate interest and add it to the profit for the year, so that you have profit before interest and tax. Then capital employed, this is one of the formulas to use capital employed. There are 2 to 3 more, and in company accounts we use equity plus reserves plus non-current liabilities. So if this is being given to you, or if the information is just like that, so if I want to increase return on capital employed, when can this be increased? There are 2 things. If my profit before interest and tax is increased, so the overall ratio will increase. Or if my capital employed decreases, it can also increase the return on capital employed ratio. Now, when can capital employed decrease? Either my assets decrease, so overall the amount will decrease, or my current liabilities increase. So if that are increasing, a bigger amount will be subtracted from assets, so overall the denominator will reduce, which will improve the ratio. Just remember this rule, right? For ratios especially, if your numerator increases, in this case, if this is increasing, my overall ratio will also increase. And if the denominator increases, we are dividing it over a larger number, so overall ratio will reduce, and vice versa, of course, right? So these were a few things which I thought would help in a bit revision or focusing a day before exam. And inshallah the paper will go well. Just relax and follow the time. You are able to manage the time, that in 50 minutes is complete the paper. In last 10 minutes utilize that time to carefully shade your answer sheet, okay? And wherever you are stuck, move to the next question, but don't forget you have to answer all the questions. Complete the paper, right? Complete the paper. So yeah, that's it for this video. Good luck. Inshallah it will go well.